Have you ever looked at all the diversity and equity initiatives out there and wondered, why do so many of them just fizzle out? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the hidden systems that keep inequity locked in place. And more importantly, we'll explore a really powerful framework for what actually works. You know that feeling, right? You're in a meeting, you're trying to explain a problem or maybe share a new idea, and it just feels like the person across from you is hearing something completely different. It's so frustrating. And it turns out that's not just in your head. It's actually a symptom of a much, much deeper issue. See, for years, companies have been throwing things like bias training and new hiring metrics at the problem. But here's the thing. Those are like putting a Band-Aid on a broken bone. They only address the symptoms you can see on the surface. They don't even touch the underlying invisible system that's causing the problem in the first place. So what is this system? Well, you can think of it as an invisible architecture of power. It's like the unseen blueprint of your workplace culture. It's what dictates who gets heard, whose ideas get valued, and who holds the power, and it does this in ways we don't even consciously recognize most of the time. And running on this invisible architecture is a kind of operating system called supremacy culture. Now, it's really crucial to get this. This isn't about individual people being bad. It's a systemic force that creates this fundamental conflict. On one side, you've got established authority. You know, the status quo, the rules, the way things have always been done. And on the other, you have authenticity. All the diverse, real, lived experiences and wisdom of every individual. This system is just designed to protect authority, and it often does that by silencing authenticity. So, how does a system like this actually function day to day? Well, it all starts in our minds. It's built on a fundamental split in how people can perceive the exact same reality. And this split creates two very different kinds of cognitive walls. Okay, so on one side, you have what's called the mirroring wall. This is often experienced by people in positions of privilege. When new information, say a criticism, comes in, the wall just reflects it back through their existing beliefs. It basically protects the status quo. But on the other side, you've got the opaque wall, which is often experienced by marginalized folks. They can see the system's flaws with total clarity, but that wall completely blocks their power to actually fix anything. You literally end up with two groups of people living in two separate realities, all inside the same workplace. So, let's actually deconstruct this invisible architecture. Let's take it apart piece by piece. We're going to look at the bricks that build it, the mortar that holds it all together, and the roles that people play, often without realizing it, to keep the whole thing standing. The actual bricks of this wall are built from what author Isabel Wilkerson calls the pillars of caste. Now, these are really deep-seated societal beliefs that make inequality seem, well, natural. In a workplace, this might look like those unconscious assumptions about who's supposed to be a leader, or whose opinion just naturally carries more weight in a meeting. So if those pillars are the bricks, then the mortar holding them together is a set of cultural norms or edicts. Things like perfectionism, or a constant sense of urgency that means no one ever has time to stop and think deeply. Or maybe a fear of open conflict that makes everyone afraid to voice dissent. These behaviors make it incredibly hard for authentic voices to break through. They're the little everyday actions that make those walls so strong. And of course, people live inside this structure playing four key roles. You've got the lieutenants who actively defend the system. You have status seekers who play by the rules to get ahead. Then there are the bystanders who just try to stay quiet and safe. And finally, you have the scapegoats. They're the ones who are excluded, but because of that, they're forced to find their own power. The wild thing is, each of these roles, whether you're conscious of it or not, helps keep the whole architecture intact. Okay, so that sounds like a pretty tough system to break down. But here's the good news. Now that we understand how it's built, we have a blueprint for taking it apart. The solution is a dual path. We have to attack the problem from the inside and the outside at the same time. The first path is all about you. It's deeply personal. It's about dismantling your own inner mirroring wall. And you can think of it as a kind of cognitive training. It starts with imagination, developing the mental flexibility to see beyond your own rigid concepts. That leads to inspiration, which is the state where you can truly hear someone else's reality without filtering it through your own biases. And finally, through intuition, you integrate all this new awareness. This process helps you develop what's called supercultural knowledge. Basically, the ability to see beyond your own conditioning. But look, inner work alone isn't going to cut it. The second path is all about changing the external structure itself.
This actually starts with the scapegoats, the people on the margins who can spark real change. By staying true to their authentic perspective, they can start to build alliances with bystanders and others. And the ultimate goal here is to create a real channel for the wisdom from the margins to finally inform the people in power, structurally lifting up the voices that have been silenced for so long.
And that really brings us to the end goal. This isn't about just tearing down all authority. It's about cultivating a culture of wisdom. And what is that? It's a state of dynamic, healthy balance. It's a culture where the authenticity of the newly empowered can genuinely inform and reshape the decisions of the powerful. That's what leads to a more resilient, more innovative, and, at the end of the day, a more equitable organization for everybody. So, this whole framework, it's not just some abstract theory. It's really a mirror for our own experiences. So the question I want to leave you with is this. In your own life, in your own work, what walls have you faced? And maybe the tougher question, what walls might you have helped build? Just thinking about that, well, that's the first real step to starting to dismantle them.